conversation with Chef Jennifer Anderson, the executive chef over at Wildfish, and we're working on those salmon croquettes.
Croquettes, yes.
Which we kind of had the base of cream cheese, dill, a little bit of, what is it, horseradish?
A little bit of horseradish and some Tabasco. You said dill, the green onions, and salmon.
The salmon, not to be forgotten.
And not to forget the lemon juice. So we've let these sit in the fridge for a little bit so they're nice and firm. From here, we're going to bread them and fry them. So I wanted to go through a little bit of the breading process. You're going to do a little bit of an egg wash. Now, I actually, when I do this, I usually like to add a little bit of water as well. If you're cooking for a big crowd and you need to bread a lot of stuff, that helps stretch it, and it's not going to be such a thick coating on it if you thin it with a little bit of water. So that's an option as well. So all we're going to do here is take our croquettes. They should be pretty nice and firm now, a little bit chilled.
How long did it take to get there? Probably not very long.
Not too long, about 30 minutes. You'd be amazed how fast the cream cheese actually heats up just from the food processor. So you're really just looking for it to be nice and firm. We're going to roll it into a nice ball. Our first step is going to be flour. Now when you're breading, you're going from dry to wet to dry. So you kind of want to either have your spoons, you can use that, or if you want to use your fingers, then you want to make sure you have one dry hand and one wet hand. Okay. So that's important to do.
Or another set of hands?
Or another set of hands works too, if you can get someone in the kitchen to help you. But I know around the holidays how tough that can be.
Now, what do you, is that
this is panko. So this is a Japanese breadcrumb we have at the restaurant. But you know, if you have just leftover bread at home, you can hit that in your food processor, make fresh breadcrumbs, and that's going to work just as well as that. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to drop it into our oil. Just be really gentle when you do that. I like to use something to put it in the oil with, just so it's not going to splash on you. And we want the oil to be about 350 degrees. We don't want it to cook too long because it is something soft. The longer you cook it, it's gonna, it's gonna spread out. So we want it, exactly. But we want it to stay nice and firm together.
As we kind of wait for this to do its little thing, I want to just let everybody know at home know that I tried the flavor when we went to break, and it is a really delicious, pronounced salmon flavor.
Yes.
So I would say you probably have to love salmon, which I personally do.
I would agree. And salmon, you know, for a lot of people that don't like fish, salmon's kind of a fishier fish for more people. If you are unsure about fish, you know, something like a halibut, a sea bass, those kind of things are really good for people that may not be the hugest fans of fish. But I do have to say, on a salmon, you really want to like salmon.
This was so delicious, though, with the little hint of the lime. It's tiny, tiny. I don't even know if I detected the Tabasco. If I was doing it, I'd probably like go heavy.
Add a little bit more.
Yeah, I like a little spicy in mine.
Yeah, again, that's what's great about this.
This is the kind of gentler version.
Right, you're not going to screw it up by adding a little bit more Tabasco or a little bit more horseradish or that kind of stuff. So that's what's nice about this.
Now, why do you like panko over just traditional breadcrumbs?
I just think they're a little bit drier. So they're going to crisp up a little bit better than a fresh breadcrumb. But again, if you don't have panko at home and you don't want to go out and buy panko and do your own breadcrumbs, what you can do is if you have fresh bread that you're grinding up, just pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes, get it nice and toasty and crispy. And that's going to be the same effect. Because I know the viewers at home can't really tell, but you can see how much more crispy it is than an actual breadcrumb.
The texture is definitely different than a breadcrumb. And I've tasted the difference between, like, when we've used that on recipes with fish. I much prefer it. It's just a lighter, flakier kind of consistency in your mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I know we've been doing this. That first one's probably been in there for about a minute and a half.
It's probably been a minute and a half or so. So, you know, what I like to do whenever I fry anything up, I always like to drain it on a paper towel. That's going to get rid of any of your excess oil and that kind of stuff. Now, you know, one of the things I like to point out about this recipe is, though we're frying right now, what's another really great thing about this is that you can actually make these ahead of time and then heat them up in your oven for 5 to 7 minutes.
That is my love language, right there, ahead of time,
That's another reason I really like this recipe. You can do these ahead of time. No one really wants to be standing over their fryer in the kitchen when they have guests coming or when they've had a glass of wine or two and working around hot oil. So, you know, we want to make it as easy as possible.
So, after we've prepared them in advance, what's the best way to keep them fresh and to re-warm them?
It depends on how far you're going to do them in advance. If you want to do them a day ahead of time, that's completely possible too. I would do what we did with the mix and just wrap it and refrigerate it. If it's going to be an hour or two, you can just leave them out at room temperature and pop them in the oven again for about 5 minutes.
Very good, very good. And then one thing I noticed too, we're not waiting for this to get like a dark golden color because then you've burned it and it's not good inside.
You can do a good golden color, but what's going to happen is, you know, you have the potential for that cream cheese to kind of bust through that coating and ooze through, and you want it to keep a nice solid form.
We have a little tradition on the show that I feel like I just cannot break. You know,
what's that?
To try the food.
Go, please. We don't have the sauce yet. We're going to make the sauce when we come back later, but you have to try it now, nice and hot and fresh, and let me know what you think.
Oh, that is amazing.
Like that? Again, super simple. That's what I love about this one.
Love it. All right, we're going to be back in a quick second. Stick around.